Today, I want to spotlight a surprisingly resilient player in the data storage arena, tape technology. Gone are the days of dusty archives and forgotten cartridges. Tape is back, baby. Joining us today are visionary leaders at the forefront of tape storage technology. Mark Steinhilbert, CEO of BDT, the world's largest manufacturer of tape robotics. Rich Gadomski is head of tape evangelism at Fujifilm Recording Media, the world's largest manufacturer of tape recording media and a leader in tape technology innovation. And Herbert Grau. He was the founder and CEO of Grau Storage, which was acquired by EMAS and is now part of Quantum. Grau Storage created one of the world's first large tape libraries, used worldwide by banks, governments, and basically everyone. He is the founder and CEO of Grau Data, his newest company, a leading developer of software solutions for data management and security. Mark, the first question is for you. BDT is synonymous with tape libraries. Your libraries are available worldwide and sold by companies such as HPE, Dell, IBM, and many others. Can you define who the modern tape user is?
The main customers and the main markets for using tape storage and tape archiving is since really decades. All kinds of companies across all the markets, ending up that there is a huge peer group, and that would be those companies who do hyperscaling data and provide public and hybrid cloud services. Those are all big internet companies, you name them. Google's, the Amazons, all these guys, they were using tape and nobody knew it, right? So they did that for their Glacier and the very, very cold data. So the cold data is the data nobody's ever using, basically, but it's still valid to archive them. And we see that these guys have a very, very high interest, into getting to an agile archiving solution with tape. It all comes down to that there is a trend that the percepted value of data is just huge. All little pieces of data are important for all these guys. They use those hyperscalers, they use it for AI, for analytics, for security. In Germany, especially, many companies here with autonomous driving, they create masses on data. This is really exabytes, not even probably zettabytes. And especially having a look into the Chinese market. That's a perfect example. These guys, they grew up fully digital, right? 25, 30 years ago, they never used tape, right? So the HDD and STDs were there from the beginning. It was always digital. But as they are growing, we get approached by all these Chinese internet companies and telling us, guys, you do this tape libraries. We need to have a solution where we have best total cost of ownership available. We need to have flexibility. We need to have the best cost in the market. And that's really what's driving these guys. So tape is very strategic to China. And that's, I think, speaks for the technology itself, because China would not move into tape if it wouldn't be still a future technology.
Rich, regarding cost efficiency and scalability, how does tape compare to other storage solutions like cloud and hard drives for large-scale data management? Can you quantify the impact of tape in scaling storage capacity?
Sure, Dave. Let me start with TCO, total cost of ownership, because we've done a lot of work on that. As a matter of fact, we've published a web-based tool. And anybody who's interested can find it by searching Fujifilm TCO tool. And we've done 5 and 10-year TCO comparisons between automated on-prem tape systems, economy disk, okay, the cheapest form of disk, and also the cheapest form of cloud. Essentially, Glacier is what we're comparing the disk and the tape to. And what we find is typically tape will cost around 80% less than the cost of the equivalent amount of disk storage over 5 and 10 years. So significant TCO savings. Compared to cloud, it's a little bit over 70% savings. So there's significant total cost of ownership advantage for tape. One of the big components of that is energy consumption. When tape is not actually in a tape drive being read or written to, it's not consuming any energy. In fact, tape consumes when you look at those 5 and 10-year TCOs, tape consumes 87% less energy than the equivalent amount of disk. I think when you play with our TCO tool, I think you find that anything over 200 terabytes starts to show significant savings for tape.
Is there a role for tape in ensuring data security?
Cybersecurity is an emerging application for tape. It's what we call air gap, physical air gap, being able to completely disconnect mission critical data from the network so there's no way for hackers to access that data. A great insurance policy is take this data, move it off-site, move it offline. And because tape is such a low total cost of ownership, and because it is easily removable and very portable, it's a great way to have an extra copy of data. And companies have, recovered or refused to pay ransomwares, the ransom based on the fact that they had tape off-site and offline. And the final comment here is if you try to get a cybersecurity insurance policy, the very first question the underwriters will ask you is, do you have off-site, offline copies of your backups? Because that is the one fail-safe method to be able to recover and avoid paying that ransom.
So Herbert, if a user has an experience with cloud, I'm already connected to one of my cloud services writing. What's the experience like using Grouse software?
Well, important is for sure this S3 Glacier command set, which we have built into our software. This is what some customers, large cloud providers in Germany, especially ask for. That's the interface to the world. And this enables even that private users or small companies use tape as an archival media. Even they would not know about this. They don't see it. They just pay a very low price and can afford a huge amount of data. I can give you a nice example about a customer we have in Germany. This customer is in the medical data archiving business. In Germany, you have to archive X-ray data, CT, MRI data for 10 up to 30 years. And this huge amount of data archiving for 10 or 30 years has to be very cost effective. So this customer uses an active archive. There's a fast front end, but we have multi-petabyte of data on 2 tape pools in one location. And then our software replicates the whole archive to a different town, more than 100 miles away. And the data is there also stored in 2 tape pools. And having 4 copies, that's for medical data kind of a given. And doing this in a cost-effective way, you only can do this with tape. I think they achieve a total cost of storage of less than $10 per terabyte and year. With our new designed object store software, we can turn any tape library in a cloud storage or in a cloud archive within 45 minutes if the hardware is already set up. So 45 minutes is pretty cool and easy because the job was to take the complexity out and make it easy for the end user or customer. Important is also that our software relies on standards. We write containers on LTFS. That's very important. So a customer which wants to archive the data for 8, 10 or more years can read the data back even without our software. So it's completely independent. And also important on the tape is that we write data into containers. So if you have billions of small files, you would not write them directly to tape because you want the tape streaming. So we have thousands or 100,000 of small files in one container, and then write the container and stream the data on tape. And important is with this S3 interface, the tape library can be anywhere in the internet and therefore can sit on-premise at the managed service provider or somewhere in the cloud. We have a customer in Germany which has our tape archive, and he survived a ransomware attack, and the tape archive was completely safe. That was a very nice proof of the resilience of this tape archive.
Advice to someone who's considering adding tape to their environment, what would you recommend?
Well, certainly when it comes to cost, if you look at some of the biggest tape users today, the cloud service providers, they are extremely cost driven. So they're leveraging tape to benefit from its costs. But universities, all the research universities are all big tape users. Media entertainment that has to store, tremendous amount of video content, do it cost effectively, do it safely. All the national labs, the big researchers, weather forecasting stations, NOAA, they're all big tape users, and they're leveraging the cost. But one thing that I really like is the reliability of tape, and I want to share a little story there. Because at the end of the day, it can be cost effective, it could be energy efficient, but the question is it reliable? And the answer is yes. So there's an example I want to share. It was CERN, which is probably one of the largest tape users in the world outside of the hyperscale cloud service providers. CERN did a data migration in 2018 where they moved 100 petabytes of data from the IBM TS1150 tapes, which were 10 terabyte tapes. And they wanted to move that 100 petabytes to the TS1155 tapes, which were 15 terabyte tapes. So they could reduce the number of physical tape cartridges that they had to manage by moving from 10 to 15 terabytes. So in that process, they needed to read back 100 petabytes of data and then write it out to the new tapes. And in that process, at the end of the day, there were 0 data errors. No data was lost in that, in that migration. And it doesn't happen that often that somebody actually puts tape to the test like that, where, okay, here's 100 petabytes of data. Can I actually read it and move it? And the answer was yes. So at the end of that 100 petabyte migration, there was no data loss. That was enough tape. If you put it end to end, unspooled it and put it end to end, it would be enough tape to go from Zurich to Chicago. So quite a bit of tape, but really that kind of demonstrates. And today we talk about bit error rate, and the bit error rate specification for tape is now better than disk, better than flash. So in fact, it has the best bit error rate of any recording media. Instead, 60 to 80% of data quickly goes cold. Studies show that's what a short period of time, 60, 90, 120 days. Why would you keep it on spinning disk that's very expensive and very energy intensive? And it's the data still has value, can't be deleted. We're in a data-driven society now. We have the ability to analyze data. So the value is increasing, can't delete it, but keeping it in an active archive where it's easily accessible, creating your own instance of Glacier on-prem with better performance and better cost is a very compelling application today for tape. So it really is a product that is, we believe, is in a resurgence. And really is coming. It's here now and has been for a long time, but at the right time. And getting data in the right place at the right time is a great role for tape.